Yes. I'm Ryan. I do a whole bunch of fun stuff. This Week in Marvel is our podcast that we do. It's official. We've been doing it for a long, long time. And so this might be an episode of our show. So be loud, be excited. We're going to show you some really cool stuff. We're going to talk about X-Men. I can't do it alone. I am joined by Joshua Cassara, who is artist of X-Men. Josh is currently sketching some stuff, as he is wont to do, but we're going to see a lot of Josh's art in this. We were going to have Tom Muller here on the panel because he has designed some of the greatest, coolest logos and looks for the Krakoan era, but Tom couldn't make it. But we're going to still talk about it. We're going to celebrate Tom, so give it up for Tom. And we've got Sarah Brunstad, who is an editor for Marvel Comics, working on a whole bunch. Give it up for Sarah. Jeff is so good, Sarah. He's just a good boy.
Sarah, you got to go down and get your Jeff lanyard.
Ooh, Jeff lanyard.
You got to go down and get it at the booth. We'll get you one.
Yes. Give it up for Jordan D. White, who is a senior editor for Marvel. Big ol' X-Men nerd, and we love him for it. And of course, our esteemed editor-in-chief, Cebulski.
Good to be back, San Diego. Let's celebrate the X-Men, the team we know and love.
Yes, so good. Now, one of the things that I love that our team has been doing the last couple of years, making sure that everybody who comes to our panels gets something cool. So make sure you stay here in the room until the end for a number of reasons, but stay until the end to get your New Mutants Lethal Legion #5 panel variant cover by Javier Fernandez and Matt Mila. It is a beaut, and the issue is really great, so definitely make sure you stay for that. One of the things we want to do, we're going to talk about the Krakoan era and designing the X-Men, but I want to set the stage because everything started at the beginning when we started doing House of X and Powers of 10.
Jonathan's a really visual thinker. I mean, the first time I was familiar with Jonathan Hickman was when he was the runner-up in Comic Book Idol as an artist, for when CBR ran that zillion years ago. So he's an incredible visual thinker. Even his actual pitch, it didn't say, like, here's how I'm going to do it, but he, formats his pitches very graphically designed. Like, they look good. They're not just words on a paper. They read well. But he had thoughts about every single thing, like what the trade dress would look like. He had, you see that we have the red and white for those two logos. That was like a very deliberate thing where he said, I want every issue of this book will have one color for House of X and the exact flip for Powers of 10, and it'll be that way on every single variant. And if you look through, that way it'll help people understand which issue is which just by looking at the logo. And we stuck by that. Like he's every single part of it, he's got thoughts right away about what it was visually going to look like.
Yeah, when Jonathan came to his first creative summit as a writer, it was when he had just gotten the assignment for Fantastic Four. And so it was his turn a creative summit is where all the writers get together and we plan out the kind of year and a half of comics. And it was Jonathan's turn. He's like, well, here's what I got planned for Fantastic Four. And he reached into a bag and he pulled out 6 moleskin notebooks and he put them on the table and he picked up one and he's like, all right, year 1. And he started, and we're like, wait, how long have you planned it? He's like, oh, I got 6 years worth of stories here. And we're just like, are you serious? And sure enough, when he did it from the beginning to the end. And we walked into, he's like, I want to do this stuff with X-Men. He walked in, he only pulled out one notebook. We're like, oh wait, is he not serious about this? No. But sure enough, there were more notebooks and designs. He'd even drawn the logo on the front of the first notebook. And exactly, he had this master plan that we're still seeing, come to pass in so many different ways. It's taking its twists and turns with the different writers that Jonathan and Jordan and Sarah have brought on. But really, the Krakoan era continues based on all those original discussions.
Yep.
And I remember Jonathan even saying, like, well, if it's 3 months because nobody likes it, I know how to end it quickly. But if we want to keep going with it, like, he could stretch out as much as he wanted.
Yep.
And he was very excited by that prospect, and the room lit up. And I'm assuming all of you here are very excited about all the Krakoan stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like, shout out to all the cosplayers, too, here. I mean, there's all from different eras, but I see a couple Cape Prides. We got the new K right here. There's one over there. Knuckles tattooed as well. All right. All right. But no, thank you for all, but that's the effect that it's had, from the past here. We got Gambit and Jubilee, you got Rogue and Scarlet Witch over there, but you got the new Cape Prides here, and that's awesome to see. Oh, and of course, Press X with the Cerebro here, so yeah.
Are the Exterminators in the room? I saw the Exterminators
were
earlier.
at the booth earlier.
I got a picture with them earlier. It was pretty sweet.
It's really wonderful to see. Now we're going to talk about a bunch of cool things. I did want to show something. So Joshua here was sending me so much cool stuff, and one of the things here was this list of characters that you had, Josh, for the Green Lagoon. And we're going to talk about the Green Lagoon later. But did you write this list? Where did this list of characters come from?
Well, when I wanted to pitch the Green Lagoon, I said I just wanted a giant, like a cantina at Mos Eisley. You walk in and there's just because on Krakoa you have, it's the bad guys and the good guys, and we're all in this together. And at first I'm like, oh, I love the X-Men. I know every mutant, and I stop at about 30. I'm like, I can't remember all of this. I talked to Jordan, and I message him back and forth, like, number one, who can be here? Because there's characters that couldn't be allowed, on the island yet or whatever. And so I created a whole, literally, guest list here. And actually, this is, I think, a revised one, because this is actually what got approved. And then, so there was an initial one that I had to send them. They're like, yep, no. And then that was, as I drew them and made sure I had places for them, that was me crossing them off the list.
Yeah, we're going to show a lot of your designs for the Green Lagoon a little bit later. But I wanted to get into some of the stuff you guys were talking about. Designer Tom Muller did some really great work alongside Jonathan to give this era a very unique feel, and it starts with our X logo. Was this, CB, you mentioned the logo on Jonathan's notebook. Was it this? Was it something different? What was it, and how did we get here?
From what my memory serves, it was a version of something like that, a little bit more old school, but it had kind of, he in white marker or, whiteout had drawn up what was more kind of mechanical designs, like from a microchip or something like that going up, almost like Warlock in a way. But those eventually, I think, too, became kind of the plants and the basis for a lot of the things as well. But it was all in his head in some way, shape, or form at that point.
Yeah. It's cool stuff. These are some really cool designs, and even when you think about the X that we get itself that we've seen, so many tiny little variations. Jordan, like how?
Yeah, I remember these. So these all came from Tom Muller, and we were very close. The one over.
You want me to Vanna White?
Yeah, go over there. The one close to your hand right there. A little bit further. The next one. Yeah, that one. We were very close to that being the one, because we did like that idea of the X also having kind of an arrow forward. So that was almost it, but in the end we went, no, maybe not, and then we ended up obviously with the one we ended up with, which we do love.
What's that process like? I mean, how much deliberation has it go across all of the Marvel Comics team? Is it stick in just the X office? Is it CB?
Did we get your opinion
where's
on
that
this?
conversation?
I think so. This one you did, and then I don't think this went all the way up to creative services at this point. No, because there's a team at Marvel Creative Services that controls the brand management stuff that for the big logos and some of the stuff that we know is going to affect the line across different consumer products and different divisions that we have them weigh in on too. But I don't think this went up to them because at that point.
Yeah, you see that last one where it says House of X and Powers 10. Like I know we were very close to doing that one because of that forward-facing arrow we thought was super cool. But in the end, we said nah. I don't remember why.
To use the laser pointer.
Yeah. To keep pointing at that.
These are great. I imagine there's some deliberation, and even Jonathan probably is so design-minded, probably
100%
back and forth.
I mean, he's the reason we brought Tom in. He came to us and said we should bring in Tom, and because he loves his work so much, and so he was instrumental in every step. I mean, again, Tom deserves lots of credit for the logos, but Jonathan wasn't going, he'll handle it, I'm done with it now. He was absolutely giving his feedback every step of the way. And we pointed out the color combos. Those are for different issues of it. And again, that was super deliberate. He was like, this is a great way to indicate it very clearly, visually, without, even if the readers don't always know that, even because we didn't put out a press release going, they're color coded, everybody. But it just kind of subtly goes, oh yeah, these are all the same.
And then here, we've got, taking that, I imagine you had to start with what the X was, and then where do you go to start building out the entire big line of X books?
Yeah, we went from House of X and Powers 10, which don't have what you might say the specific, it's not really a font, but the letter type that Muller started using for the logos. They didn't have it other than the X. It was when we moved to X-Men as the first title that we knew we were going to do for the series, that he devised that he can make the letter shapes out of a similar shape as the X, and that became a theme of the whole line. And so he did all of these, it gave the whole line a very cohesive feel. They're all part of one thing, very clearly.
Do you have favorites out of these?
Oh, I love that Marauder's skull that he came up with. Yeah. I'm really partial to the Ten of Swords one because I like that it's contained in that brick, but it's also still sword shaped, the logo itself, which is really fun. The sword logo too was really weird and fun, like the like X that expands out. We a lot of them we worked hard to go like, is there a way we can get an X in here, even if there wasn't an X in the title? So like I think Cable, you've got a tiny little X in the middle of the A, which I think is pretty sweet.
Yeah, these are awesome. Now, another amazing, really fun part that I love about this era are the data pages.
Yeah.
The data pages are wild. Like, that's a thing that Jonathan has been doing for years across all of his titles. But what was the discussion like of like saying, hey, we want to put these things in the X books and coming to these kinds of designs?
Yeah, like you said, it's something Jonathan has done a ton of, and so when he came to this, he said, I'm going to be doing this. Like, this is just what I'm going to do. It's going to be great. It's going to add. And he's talked about it before, but I'll since he's not here, I'll tell you a little about what he thinks his thoughts were. A lot of comics before him have done text pages, but they tend to be what readers call back matter. You read the comic, like a really famous one being obviously Watchmen. You read the comic, and then after you've finished reading the comic book, you get to some text, and you can read that afterwards. And he was like, no, I don't want that at all. I want it to be part of the comic. I want to disrupt how you think about how you're reading the comic, because you can hold a comic in your hand and know physically, oh, I'm this far into the comic, I pretty much know where it's going to go from here. But he was like, no, I want it to be that they turn the page and it's like, oh, I actually suddenly have more to read. I don't know the pacing of what's about to happen. And he did a great job, I think, of writing those in a really interesting way, but also in a way that I always like to talk to the writers about it as saying, think of it as, don't just think of it as a text page. Think of it as like a panel that comes between the last panel of the previous page and the previous panel of the next, or the first panel of the next. It needs to interact with those panels the same way any panel of the comic would. It shouldn't feel like, oh, there's some text here. It should feel like, oh, this is relevant. It affects either what just happened or it sets my expectations for what's about to happen. He was great at that. And he absolutely laid out all of these for us and did all, on Hawks and Pox, he literally did all of the design work on the data pages himself, every single page of it. So that Orcus logo, he drew that logo and did the color design on it, and it's amazing. He drew the map of Krakoa. He drew the map of Krakoa himself.
Yeah, we'll get to the map of Krakoa in a second.
Sorry, spoilers.
This is why we're here. I also, of course, we got to talk about the alphabet and the language and everything, and of course, apocalypse, but like not apocalypse. Like it's not saying apocalypse.
Well, his name is not suitable for human tongues to say,
Fair.
So we can't pronounce it for you. Sorry, but that is how you write it. One of the most exciting moments, I think this was the last time I was at San Diego, was we were here right before the first issue of House of X came out, and right before we announced, we announced at San Diego all of the titles of the books that would come out after Hawks and Pox. And at the X panel, we displayed a giant block of Krakoan text that just had all of the titles. And I remember we had conversations about it, and I said to you guys, they are going to solve it immediately. Like, just so you know. They're going to, like, this is how it works. If you put out a puzzle like that, the fans will crack it immediately. And people internally were going, no, it's going to be too hard. Look at this. Nobody will know what those letters are. And it was like 2 minutes. It was solved.
That's why we love you, X-Men fans. And this here is Tom's full font.
Now, again, he doesn't do it as a font. I think he makes them. The reason there are multiples of every letter, not every letter, but a bunch of the letters there is because he does create the letters by hand every time. So this is just like a collection that I think somebody at Marvel did of here's all the letters that Tom did, different versions in different ways. But yeah, it's really pretty sweet that typeset. Again, I don't know what to call it other than a font, but the non-font that he did is really great.
How did we never do a shirt that's just the Krakoan alphabet?
Why would you want? Do you have an English letters
No,
alphabet
but this
shirt?
is way cooler than English letters. People will notice.
There we go.
So you mentioned, the map and everything here. Walk us through, like, were there different versions of Krakoa, or did Jonathan just say, here we go?
He just turned it in. There were different versions of the locations. Although I can't quite read them all there, but I definitely know when he turned it in, there was a bunch of locations on it that we were like, what are those? And he's like, no, we'll figure it out. They sound cool. They're kind of interesting. We'll figure something out. And I think we ended up using all of them eventually. He also drew, and I don't think you have it here, but I'm just going to tell you, speaking of maps, he also, even though he didn't write Planet Size X-Men, he also did draw the map of Mars for us for Planet Size X-Men, a map of Araco, sorry, everybody, sorry.
And then, so let's get into some of the work. I believe this is some of Pepe's designs here.
Absolutely. Pepe, you mentioned how amazing he is. Oh, no, actually, I think Jonathan mentioned it on the video you played.
I think we could all mention how amazing Pepe Larraz is.
He's so good. He's so good. So he came in and, no one, I want to say no one had seen Krakoa before. We'd seen the original Krakoa, but nobody had seen the thing that we were about to make Krakoa into before. And he just came in and ran with it and did such beautiful work. This is just these are from the actual comic, like the first time we actually see a gate. So cool. Yep, more, there you can see there the tower. What's the tower called that Nightcrawler lives in, Sarah?
The Narthex.
The Narthex that eventually Nightcrawler moved into. Again, I think Pepe just drew it there. Or is that Pepe? That's Pepe, right? Or is that RB now? I can't even tell which one that's from. Regardless, I know Pepe drew it first. It was so cool looking, and Jonathan was like, I'm just going to say Nightcrawler was going to live in there now. Like, just because it looked cool. Yeah. There's the resurrection tree, so to speak.
Yeah, and there's multiple designs and, coming up with this. And, it's something we don't always get to see as fans, of seeing all the ways that our artists, Joshua and everybody else, are coming to these final designs and colors, and there's so much time and thought is put into it. So I'm glad we're able to share that here.
Yeah, I mean, it's because again, 5 years later, when we've seen so much Krakoan technology and Krakoan biomes and all of these things, it's easy to forget that, like, we used to draw X-Men in high-tech labs all the time, in like Shi'ar technology. Suddenly, we asked Pepe, draw them in plant rooms. And he was just like, yeah, all right, I can make that work. And he did it so well that now a zillion other artists are also going, yeah, check this out.
Yeah, we've got some cool stuff. This one I saw as we were going through this presentation, and I was like, man, it looks so cool there. Thinking about the Quiet Council.
It's got the spoiler of empty eventually Kate, because we had that empty for such a
dun, dun, dun. And then we also, talking about the biotech of it all, getting into stuff here. Josh, what are you drawing?
Nerdy stuff.
He's drawing Mystique in her Hellfire Gala look, and it's like I'm watching him draw, and it's just magic.
Wasn't there a Wolverine under there too?
There's a Wolverine that he just
spoilers.
Yeah, give it up for Joshua Cassara here, please. So good, so good. Josh, you started on with X-Force and doing some cool stuff. Talk us through some of these designs here, like the cradle and all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the cradle, I was working with Ben Percy, but also with Jonathan Hickman and Jordan here, and we just had a lot of back and forth about what you envision for where's the Cerebro. There's the different places, the different cradles. And I don't remember description-wise, but in my mind, my favorite movie of all time is Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the opening scene is like, with the altar and the idol, is kind of the way I always had pictured it. And so I had, the helmet like the idol, but then all these, flowing vines and things going into it, and just but like it's like a computer that's all hooked up, but it's just, it's all natural stuff. And it's not stuff that I'd traditionally drawn, but now, watching what Pepe and Arby did, they set the table and just take and run with it. Like now, everybody knows I love drawing plant monsters and stuff now.
Then we also have the treehouse here, which I'm sure you got to draw a little bit, Josh, in recent times.
Oh yeah, actually it's awesome. I mean, it's a treehouse. Everybody loves a treehouse. They want one.
Well, you Pepe drew it so beautiful, and then you burned it down.
I didn't want to say that, but
that's true. That was actually kind of fun.
We've got the location here, the Mykonos.
Oh, sure.
Sure, someone will correct me, but
It's hard to pronounce. We've looked it up and asked Wikipedia how to pronounce it, and it tells us, but we're not good at it.
always trust Wikipedia, please. Here, I'm going to something closer so you can keep drawing, Josh.
Yeah. So that's Magneto built that lovely tower for us. As I think in Magneto, Giant Size X-Men Magneto, or was it just called Giant Size Magneto? I can't remember now. But Jonathan conceived of it as Magneto making this place that human and mutant diplomacy would happen. And so shortly thereafter, when Jerry proposed that we do this Hellfire Gala, it became, well, we should hold it there in this beautiful tower.
Yeah.
And we have every year since.
It's been great. Back to you, Josh, because one of my favorite designs, and you and Ben are just horrible people doing this to poor Caliban.
This one's Jerry.
It's Jerry.
Oh, it's Jerry.
Yeah, he's a horrible person too.
He's also very awful, Jerry Duggan. Tell us about the forged Caliban combo.
You picture, I forget what old movie reference he had used for it, and just like this face on him, like Caliban, like he ripped him up and made him into a suit. And so it's so grotesque and so awful. But what am I going to do it more like an astronaut suit? I think like the middle one looks like, and eventually I landed on the one that you can see colored here, and I incorporate the X. We draw X-Men stuff. We're going to incorporate X's everywhere we can, and more of the viney plant stuff.
Yeah. And then here we see some early stuff there. I guess I didn't know this, but what do you call Domino's arm there, Jordan?
Isn't it the War Mitten?
Yes, Ben wanted to call it the War Mitten.
Was that no?
Is that in the comics? Well, that's in the comics, right? They call it the War Mitten.
guess I
Anybody
missed it.
confirm this? No. Okay, that's fine. No.
But that should be like a role play item from Hasbro. Hey, everybody, get a War Mitten.
It shoots stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So all really cool stuff here. Now, you mentioned the Hellfire Gala. We've got a Hellfire Gala coming up. We wanted to just share a little bit, remind everybody what the first Hellfire Gala was like as we go.
Krakoa's best and brightest are getting ready to strut down the green carpet, boasting the most fabulous fashions the young island nation has to offer. Bold colors match bold attitudes, and powers are proving to be the ultimate accessory. The world is waiting with bated breath as the new team of X-Men nears its unveiling. Plus, another announcement that's being kept secret for now.
And so we had the first one, which is like a crossover and the various issues. Then we had the one-shot last year, and then we have another one-shot this year. But one of the cool things, and if Tom were here, we would talk about it, is the Hellfire logo, and really like taking that into this Krakoan era. Is there anything you can tell us about that, Jordan, and bringing that to life?
Yeah. So obviously that's the logo. So that was designed for as you said, the first year was a crossover. So this logo was not the logo that was the name of a comic. It was a logo just to be like the branding across the crossover. That's why it doesn't have X-Men or anything in it like the later ones do. And it also served as you can see, it served as the logo of the Hellfire Trading Company. Do you have the old logo there or no? Because it was based on an old Hellfire logo.
No, we don't have that one.
Okay, that's fine. It was based on the old Hellfire Club logo, which was like an H with a trident in the middle, and this is the Tom Muller X-Men logo version of that. And I think again, it did a really great job of capturing that idea over again, but in that immediately recognizable, oh, this is the new era of X-Men way.
Sarah, when did you come into X-Books?
Like a year and a half ago-ish?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah. What was the first book you started to work on with these designs?
I took over New Mutants
Okay.
when Vita was still writing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride. Now, Josh, we also have you here with some of your designs for the X-Force crew. It's pretty snazzy looks for them.
I get a hard time for these ones because everyone's like, it's like a Met Gala kind of thing. They're not outlandish at all. And
It was the security.
They are they're supposed to be like the Secret Service, and they're supposed to kind of blend in. And so, but I did put some cool pouches on like Domino's leg and things like that. So they're ready for some action.
Yeah.
Whose idea was the bolo tie? Was it you or Ben?
I don't know. We talk about bolo ties so often that I can't remember who came up with it first.
The Bolo Boys. And of course, you did get to go and do some cool stuff for Xavier.
Yeah, it was one of those like you're going to get to design Xavier's Hellfire Gala outfit. And so I just kept going. And it's so funny because, different influences. I like the leisure suit, the Cousin Eddie leisure suit of D, and, the Sergeant Pepper's on A, or
That Pope one.
the Pope. I really like. I push for that one hard because he's like almost like a god figure and wants to be on the island. And then when you get down to like no more ideas, you just throw things at the wall. And so I think that was like what ended up. Yeah, that's it.
No, that's
And
cool.
that's the one that everybody wanted to go with.
You don't like all the gold jewelry?
I love it. It was just the last idea I had.
All right.
But then once you design it, you have to draw it in every panel, Jordan. So that's
That's true.
Yeah. Speaking of a lot of gold, we've got the Mystique and Destiny designs for this year's Hellfire Gala. What was the direction for them?
I think that if I remember, I'm sure Jerry's script was just like, they're wearing Hellfire Gala outfits. Go for it.
Yeah, and at least the cut of the fabric's kind of mirroring each other. She's got gold on her to kind of be with Destiny, and so I wanted that. I want them to be, sexy, but like kind of elegant in a way. Like Mystique obviously has like a very like Egyptian kind of look to her, and I don't know. I don't know what's up with Destiny's giant head thing, but I really pushed for that, and everyone's like, "Yeah, absolutely."
It's very Shi'ar in a way, which I like. It's
These were the first two characters designed for this year's gala because they were appearing in Free Comic Book Day, which secretly we have to produce super early.
Yeah.
so these guys were designed way before anybody else.
Yeah. Coming back around full circle to the Green Lagoon, Josh, you shared a bunch of really great in-process pieces for this. How long did this piece take you? It's a double-page spread.
It took me a week to draw. It was. I know exactly when it was. It was during Christmas. I started on Christmas Eve and ended on New Year's Day.
Wow.
Were there any pieces here that you were like, no, erase, go back?
I do that all the time.
That's why. Oh. But you know what? The final result is incredible. When you guys, the editorial team, gets this in, what's the reaction?
Oh, our minds were blown, absolutely. Like, we knew it was coming. We had heard about it, obviously, duh. But, I don't think we had any idea it was going to be as cool as it is. And have, like, the great reaction that it did. I know people went absolutely bonkers for it, and rightly so.
I'd pitched it to Ben. I said, when I read, I got the early advanced copies of X-Men #1, and there's a scene of them, they're just like in a cafeteria. And so I go, well, if they have a cafeteria, and I realized it's kind of that moment, it dawned on me, like, we're going to help just create all of Krakoa and everything. And there's a lot of these spaces that haven't been done yet. And I said, let's do a bar. And I was a long-time bartender, for people who know me, and so like I'm just immediately like, all right, let's just put them all together. But again, it was about having all the villains and all the just get as many as I could that they would allow me to just put on 2 pages.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for it, and I can't find it because it's so long ago. But if I'm not mistaken, there is also a menu with cocktails that was created for this that you could see never put out.
You can see some of the drinks in their hand.
Yeah.
And I actually designed tiki mugs. You'll see some of the sketches I'll do. I have an Apocalypse tiki mug. I have a Xavier, Cerebro tiki mug. A big giant fishbowl that Black Tom Cassidy's drinking out of. It's got like an octopus arm. And again, I'm an old bartender. I name the drinks, and they have full ingredients and everything. But I think you probably don't need to push that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we also want to share some cool stuff that's coming up. I feel like I've seen this internally so much, but I'm so excited. Yes. X-Men #29. Jordan, tell us.
So yeah, this is obviously, again, part of our Fall of X storylines. This is Doom's X-Men. That's Dr. Doom there with his own personal team of mutants. Designed by someone at this table. Sarah, you designed them. No. Josh designed them and drew this amazing cover.
Yeah, and then we have some of these designs here.
Talk a little bit about them.
Yeah.
When it comes to like you're creating new mutants and just superheroes in general, I have a daughter that loves Pokemon, so I just always think about like what type of Pokemon is that? So we got electric type right here. And so, the next time you're going to see I've got like a rock type. And I said, I have plant type. And she goes, no, there's rock type. There's no plant type. There's leaf type, she tells me, or a grass type. So Yeah, it's that's kind of where I start. What's your power set, and then I kind of think of how they're going to be physically from there.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that in December. You're going to be working hard on those. We're going to come back to some more comic stuff, but I wanted to share y'all something. So I'm working on a project called Marvel Move. It brings Marvel storytelling with audio and fitness in really cool ways. But like, X-Men is my favorite thing. So as I'm overseeing this, I'm like, we got to have the X-Men. What are we going to do? And then we get Teenie Howard in to write a giant X-Men story as our tentpole for the project. And it's we're launching this summer. It's a really cool thing. And I'm going to give you guys a world premiere look at a whole bunch of things from it, including art that we have here by Emma Lupacchino, who's doing cool stuff. It is set in like an adjacent Krakoan era. It is not the comics. We're not doing tie-ins to the comics. But we're taking a lot of what these amazing folks are doing and creating some cool stories. And so right now you're going to get a real sense of some of it with some amazing characters. The first world premiere taste of Marvel Move and our X-Men story.
Hurry, this way. Don't get that close. Gosh, you worry me. But there are a lot of people here, and I need to safely direct the crowd with my mind. I know someone who can help you, if I can contact him. But don't slow down. I promise he can't get you. You're going to choke on your food.
Detecting unknown target.
What? No offense, but Sentinels are big machines that attack mutants. Why would they be attacking you?
Mutant target detected.
You better run, Buck. Try and keep up. You can call me Logan. Jeannie sent me. I'm supposed to help you. Jeannie's a sweetheart. She'll take real good care of you. We're just good friends, mind you. Jeannie's got herself a fella. Guy named Cyclops. Can't miss him. Shoots red blasts from his eyes. You stick up. I said keep moving.
So the idea with Marvel Move is you are moving. You are walking, running, biking, whatever you want, and you've got a story that you're following along, and sometimes maybe you go a little bit faster, but there, Sentinels are attacking you, and you get embroiled in a story. We've got Jumbo Carnation. I know this room, I think, probably is big fans of Jumbo. I had his audition recently, and he's going to crush it. Jumbo and Emma and tons of X-Men, so it's really cool. If you need it, there's a QR code. You can sign up. Really cool stuff. Come to the booth. We've got headbands and a free month for anybody who wants to check it out. So that's Marvel Move. But we got to get back to the comics because we got an announcement. Tell us about X-Men Blue Origins.
Yeah, so I've been working with Cy Spurrier for a long time. He's been telling Nightcrawler's story since Legion of X and Way of X, even before that. So now we're doing Uncanny Spider-Man coming up. I'm sure everybody in this room knows about that book. And this is going to be very closely tied to that. But it's going to be a really important story. It's going to redefine Nightcrawler's origin. It's going to have a lot of mystique in it, a lot of destiny. And yeah, I kind of don't know what else to say. It's like, it's an unmissable issue.
Yes.
You know, a lot of times we use hyperbole in sales, shocker. But no, in this case, it is truly redefining, going back to look at Nightcrawler and his past and where he came from and where he is going, from everything to, you know, Claremont to Chuck Austin. We're going to revisit all those different eras, and Cy's got a really fantastic take on it that he's been working with Sarah very hard on. So.
And just in case anybody didn't know, yeah, she mentioned Uncanny Spider-Man. That's Nightcrawler there, dressed up like Spider-Man, pretending that he's a Spider-Man. It's a really, really great series that they're doing. I love it so much.
Yeah, probably, I mean, Cy is a great, great writer, but I genuinely think it's his best work for Marvel so far. It's going to be really awesome.
Heck yeah. Also, maybe a little tease about who are the new...
Did we put that? I thought we didn't know we were going to put that slide up.
Timmy, we should put the
Yeah,
slide.
What is it? We even put November on there? Oh, jeez.
Well, it is what it is.
There's something fun coming. The font there is a little bit of a giveaway too for all you old school X-Men fans. Let's see how fast the internet can figure that one out.
Immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
So, of course, I know a lot of you are Marvel insiders and you like your code and stuff, so we got a code for you here. You can sign up at marvel.com/insider, get 10,000 points with that code. Don't put it on the internet just yet. Make sure everybody in this room can use it, please. We love it. Everybody get all kinds of cool stuff. And, of course, go to the Marvel booth if you're an insider, the merch store. We've got some really cool stuff for you there. Now, there's some other stuff that we want to do. You're an X crowd, obviously. So I already know you have great taste. But hands up, who's a fan of one of the X-Men's greatest time travelers, teachers, heck, just one of the goats of all time, Lucas freaking Bishop?
Yeah. Woo!
Very good, very good. So earlier today, I helped our friends at Hasbro announce a whole bunch of new toys, and I was able to let them give us a worldwide reveal of a Bishop action figure. Wait, oh yeah, from Marvel Studios X-Men 97. And I just so happen to have it here. He's real. You guys want to see him?
Yeah.
Check him out. Oh wait, I have two.
Oh.
I don't know why they gave me two, because only one's going back to Hasbro, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, it's very cool. This is, as you can see here, we got some more images so everybody in the room can check them out. Great accessories. And you get a sense of what he looks like. It's really cool what's coming up in Marvel Studios X-Men 97. So we're going to get through all that, but we gave away some stuff earlier today. So hit the Hasbro booth for all that stuff. You all excited for Marvel Studios X-Men 97? Which is cool because my eyes, my peepers, everybody's a fan of peepers, love y'all. Peepers tell me that we have three folks who are actually bringing X-Men 97 to life here in the room. So maybe we give it up for writer and executive producer Beau DeMayo, supervising producer director Jake Castorena, and consulting on X-Men 97, Emmy-nominated producer director of original X-Men, the animated series, Larry Houston. It just seems like a fun thing to share with you guys, have them talk a little bit. So, Beau.
What's up?
How's the show coming along? You know, it's been, you know, how you doing? How you feeling?
Tired, but
Yeah?
it's going really, really well. We're about, 2.5 years, 3 years now.
2.5.
Cranking this out. We're kind of deep in post on season 1. Just wrapped writing on season 2. And it's honestly like the size and scope and ambition of something like this and kind of sending a love letter to what Larry and the Leewalds did is huge. And the fact that it's gone so swimmingly and smoothly is not only a testament to this guy, Jake, who is like the visual king on my show.
Team effort.
But honestly, the entire crew. We have some of them in here. We have writers in here. So just give it up for these guys. I literally say it every day. The fans are lucky to have them. They are busting their butts, even as we speak.
Yeah.
Getting this done. And, we just put together actually kind of an internal thing for the Marvel execs and Disney execs, giving them kind of a tone taste of what the show is. And it's weird watching, like, your heroes freak out to something you're doing and going like, oh, wow, maybe my imposter syndrome's going to end now. It doesn't. And so they're just getting stoked. It's been a wild ride. It's been a dream come true.
I love it. Jake, who were your favorite X-Men growing up and now? And I just want to know, will we see all of them in X-Men 97?
Oh man! All right, so an easy question. No worries. No, I mean, like many of us, I was exposed to X-Men in a myriad of different ways. The OG, the show. Thank you, Larry. To play Leewalds. The Konami X-Men arcade game. That was where my love for Storm started. That tornado, just y'all know what I'm talking about. And then lately being on the show, I'm realizing my favorite X-Men now are the ones that propose creative challenges to get in a moving medium. Whereas, for example, a character, like we take for granted eyes and eyebrows for acting, for emoting. What happens when you have a character that has none? Cyclops. It's got the visor. How do you make Cyclops have a cocked eyebrow, a furrowed brow, roll his eyes? And those kind of things, when we get what the amazing writers give us, we want to carry those emotions, those stories, those character arcs visually. And with a character like Cyclops, what it proposes is how do we get a character with no eyes, eye contact to the audience? And something that we've done, long and short answer, is his glints. The reflections on his visor, whether it's a sharp, snappy glint, a slow glint, a nice little twinkle, with his smirk, we find unique ways to use the mutant's powers to convey their emotion, not just for action's sake, but to also carry story too, and that's been fun in that regard. And I could talk about this all day, and it's a blast. And I guess you'll have to watch the show to find out who's going to be in there.
Fine. Fine. Larry, of course, your history with animated X-Men goes back more than 30 years, and you have helped most, if not every single dang person in this room become giant X-Men fans. Everybody give it back up for Larry. Larry, what makes X-Men 97 special in your opinion?
In my mind, you have an entire crew working on the show that they're all dedicated fans to the mythology and the lore and legacy of the X-Men. And everyone who's involved really believes in the stories, the characters and stuff. And I'm really proud to hand off the legacy to these guys. These guys are really doing a great job. I think you guys are going to really enjoy these.
Thanks to everybody who's here for the panel. Thank you. Give it up, X-Men fans.